All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Because frankly, most of you strut through the produce section with absolutely zero idea what you're actually doing. You casually toss a little bundle of green spears into your cart and think to yourself, oh great, I'm buying a healthy vegetable for dinner tonight. Well, your casual grocery shopping is actually a massive secret nursery raid. Welcome to the 1,000-day grind of asparagus. We're talking about a plant that requires more discipline and sheer endurance than almost any other crop on planet Earth.
Botanical infanticide. Yep, that is the harsh reality of your dinner plate. When you walk into a store and buy those tender green spears, you are technically participating in it. I mean, here's the real glitch in the matrix. Those spears we eat, they're actually the plant's immature offspring. So when you harvest or buy asparagus, you're literally chopping off the young, tender plant babies before they ever even get a chance to grow up. And it's just this ruthless culinary habit we've all completely accepted as totally normal.
So the really crucial point here is this staggering number, 1,000. And honestly, this is exactly why most of you watching this will never ever successfully grow this crop in your own backyard. Asparagus is the absolute ultimate patience test. I mean, think about it. You can plant a radish and be munching on it in a measly 30 days, right? But asparagus, it demands a massive, multi-year commitment before it gives you a single bite. You'd literally have to wait almost 3 entire years, nearly 1,000 grueling days of watering, weeding, and waiting, just to even start producing a harvest.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth do you have to wait so incredibly long? Well, it's because for those first 3 years, the plant is completely ignoring the surface. It doesn't care at all about making food for you. Instead, it's aggressively building a biological battery hidden deep underground. It's creating this incredibly thick, sprawling root system that just hoards every single ounce of energy it can find for extreme long-term survival. And that secret underground vault, it completely fuels the plant for the rest of its entire life.
And honestly, this just brilliantly illustrates the sheer duality of this plant. We have this agonizing 1,000-day wait where it seems like absolutely nothing is happening. But once that underground energy bank is fully charged, the plant completely flips a switch. It goes from being the absolute slowest grower in your garden to the absolute fastest. During the peak of the season, a single asparagus spear will launch into this violent biological explosion, growing up to 5 inches in a single day. It uses all of that stored root power to propel the spear out of the mud and into the sun in just an explosive daily sprint. You can practically pull up a chair and watch it move.
And you know, this is where the plant's true identity is finally revealed. If you miss the harvest by just a few days, like if you don't chop down those plant babies in time, they undergo a drastic physical metamorphosis. Those tight, scaly little heads literally burst open and mutate into these massive, feathery ferns that shoot 6 feet into the air. Most people wouldn't even recognize it in this state, but these giant ferns are the plant's true form. They basically just act as massive solar panels designed purely to recharge that underground root bank for the next year's baby production.
Because that biological battery is just so incredibly robust, asparagus actually became a fugitive. Yeah, really. Most of the so-called wild asparagus you might find while out foraging isn't actually wild at all. Early settlers brought domestic asparagus over to their gardens way back in the 1600s, but the plant was simply too strong to be contained. It completely escaped domestication, taking root in fields and prairies, and accidentally establishing wild patches across entire continents like North America and Europe. It just proves that once this plant sets up its underground bank, it is practically unkillable.
Which naturally brings us to a rather fascinating modern application. Preppers and survivalists actually treat this crop as the ultimate off-grid hack. They heavily prioritize asparagus for extreme long-term planning because it is just incredibly reliable once it's established. It doesn't care at all if the global supply chain collapses, and it certainly doesn't care if a massive storm wipes out the surface level of the garden. Its entire life force is buried safely deep underground, totally protected from whatever chaos is going on above.
Now, if you actually have the discipline to wait out those initial 1,000 days, the mind-bending payoff is exactly 20 years. A single established root acts as an essential 20-year food pension. It really is one of the very few buy once, eat forever investments you can ever make in the dirt. Because while practically every other crop dies after a single season and forces you to buy new seeds, asparagus is a generational legacy. It just sits there, providing a consistent source of protein and calories that can literally feed a family for decades. And by the way, what it feeds you isn't just crunchy green water. It actually functions as a concentrated nutritional pharmacy. Ancient healers knew all about this centuries ago, using it to improve eye and skin health. It basically acts as a biological shield for the human body, absolutely packed with folate, vitamin C, vitamin A, and vitamin K. So it's this underground energy bank that literally doubles as a protective pharmacy, offering you a concentrated burst of nutrients that your standard fast-growing vegetables just simply cannot match.
So let's connect all this bizarre biology right back to your grocery store receipt. When you look at the rather expensive price tag on a bundle of asparagus, what you are actually looking at is the patience barrier. Because it takes 3 whole years to produce a harvest, farmers have to pay for the land, the water, and the intensive labor for 1,000 days before they see a single cent of profit. You aren't just paying for a vegetable. You are literally paying for 3 years of a farmer's life, risk, and labor.
So, I'll leave you with this question today. Knowing it takes 1,000 days to get your very first harvest, would you actually have the discipline to start an asparagus bed right now, or are you just going to stick to raiding the grocery store nursery? Think about it. We took a plant that takes 1,000 days to grow, decided to aggressively eat its babies before they could metamorphose into giant ferns, and somehow turned it into a luxury item. We're standing right next to an unkillable biological pension plan that could easily feed us for 20 years, yet most of us are too incredibly impatient to even plant the seed. So a vegetable that requires a 3-year wait to eat its own children is now your absolute favorite grilled side? Now that's absolutely wild.